And I chose the people who came to see the film were, I didn't just want to fill the theater. I wanted people who mattered, people who will carry this movie tomorrow to tell people to come and watch this movie. It is releasing on December 4th. It was one of the most powerful movies that I've seen in this independent. I don't like using the word independent cinema as cinema. You either like it or you don't like it. Independent because we don't have, you know, the commercial heroes or heroines. But each of you have done such a fantastic role. How difficult is it to show it in India? I mean, I had invited mothers and daughters, and I was like, because it's very strong in your face content. It is not just frou-frouing around. It's right there. You either accept it or not, and you fall in love with all the characters before it's revealed what is revealed. I don't know if I can talk about what is revealed, so I will not. See, I see. That's why I said thank you for such a courage, for the courage that you've had to bring out such a powerful and a movie that's so needed, not just for every woman, but for every man to watch, to see what it is that a woman goes through. And I believe cinema is the most powerful medium because you can go back and rewatch that, and it's a different experience every time you watch it. I am a theater actor. I went to college for it. It's one performance every night, but with film, it stays on forever. And I believe, and I hope, and I believe, and I know that this film is going to be one of those films that will stay on forever. We're talking about the first half of the film, like when you fell in love with all of you, and then there is this shocking element. I'm like, oh my God, how are they going to make, like the producer in me is thinking, how are they going to do this? How are they going to tell people? But then you took it somewhere else. You took us on a completely different ride. Every time they sat down to talk about something, there are issues that all the girls, all my girlfriends, every time we talk about, you know, and let it be over a chai or at home or just laying in bed. Like it's something we always talk about. I first want to ask you how you conceived the film. I've read the 2 minutes I got right now. I just went through the papers. I mean, you said you've been trying to make this film before Kahani or before Queen or any of these films came out. Social elements, and starting, I mean, if it was Nandita Das, we'll accept it, or why I use that name is someone who's older, who's been in the industry. It's okay, you're young and starting off your career. To make such bold choices, didn't you feel that you'd be typecast after this movie?
Sorry, I mean, I was always try to have strong women character in my earlier films, and I've closely worked with Dilip Shankar, who is a casting director, you know, who has worked on films like Bhag Milkha Bhag and Life of Pi. So when we had, in fact, finished a film called Valley of Flowers, we said we should really do, you know, no one is doing it, let's make woman as hero film. And literally, him, Dilip and me, we went for 2.5 months to Madhya Pradesh, researching everything about Jhansi Ki Rani. And when that research was over, we decided, oh, we are not going to make this film. So,
why was that?
We found some, yeah, because while we were traveling, we came across absolutely a real story which just blew our mind, which was the story of Putli Bai. She was a kind of a Bandit queen, you know, a great singer turned, you know, Bandit queen. And so what and then we knew that there were no takers. We tried to sort of go around with the story. We even had a treatment. And Dilip had ideas that who can play, you know, for such a film, but it was just before the independence, so it meant, you know, period costume, expensive production. So since then, this idea stayed that we need to do, you know, there are so many wonderful stories. And the more film one was watching, mainstream cinema, we realized that what I see in reality, we don't see it on the screen. You know, and then actually in 2000, about 5 or 6 years ago, there were a few actresses, friends like Sandhya and We met at the party, and then again this whole conversation started. That, oh, we need to do something, we need to talk about it, and then it was dropped. So initial treatment, because we were not getting any financial encouragement, we very often left. When we planned, we never thought we were going to make India's first buddy female film. No such thing. We were just attracted to amazing stories, and we realized there is something to be done. And coincidentally, in my life, somehow I've always ended up with women. I was studying in Ahmedabad in National Institute of Design, and for 5 years in my class, I was the only boy, and there were 9 girls. When I had my first job for 4 years as a production runner, they were all women. I was the only guy in the production company doing ad films. So, so a lot of things unconsciously were just sort of playing, that, okay, they do have certain way to share, and it's never the same as the male bonding, and it's not really true. I don't think the women just only talk about losing weight and food and cat fights and jealousy, and why do we have such preconceived notions? So it started with those simple things, and then it became big, a big journey to come to where we are today. Yeah.
So we've done a film together called Faith Connections, and it really worked out well. And we wanted to do something more. And Nalin came up with this idea that he was thinking for a long time. And for me as a producer, I always wanted to do something which is unique and it's not available, which is not seen yet. And here is an opportunity to do a film about first female buddy film. By that time, that shape had taken, that we're going to talk about women and sisterhood of women. And what do women do when they're alone? That's never captured on cinema. And we wanted to make it a light-hearted film with a strong message in it, but entertaining and not being preachy. So primarily there were 2 reasons. The strongest one was that I had a director who could pull this off. Besides, the third reason is that we had just put together a great team who was dying to do.
I was at a point where I had done my 8th film, and I had this burning urge to do something different. I didn't quite know what doing something different really meant. And it just so happened that the universe conspired, and I got a call about this film that was happening, and I knew who Pan was. I knew what he did. And it was very intriguing because the very first interaction with the film was an email saying that we're going to have an actors retreat and workshops, and if everything goes well, we might shoot a film. And we're going to shoot it in Goa. And I don't need an excuse to go to Goa. Also, then when I actually went and met Pan and Dilip, both emanating light, it just made sense. And I then just didn't ask any questions. I lie. I didn't ask any questions till day 20 of the shoot. Then I had many questions as the plot progressed. But I think it's important to do that. I think that now, as the country, the way it stands, and the mindset of people, the way it stands, is a time for experimentation, and that people are willing to accept change, and sort of even they're egging for it, and they want it, and they want to see it. And I think that as someone who represents, let's say, maybe almost like the youth of the country, or maybe a young person, I think it's nice to be able to show that you can do this and do that, and perhaps get away with it.
Actually, it was the first song that I did ever, like, for any kind of playback. After which I started doing like Tamil and Bollywood playback. But it was Mila Mila for Super, and I was always a big fan of Nagarjuna. I thought he was so cute.
He is.
So and Sandeep Chota, of course. I had known him for a really long time, and I did that song. It actually was a really good song. It did very well for me.
That Nalin and Dilip and Gaurav, they were not looking for actresses, but they were looking for real people. The girls who have fire in them. And I think each of them, each of them has so much inside them, and, so many emotions, so much happiness, so much, like when we were together, we used to share so much. Like, though my character was completely different than, like, I like all of them, but I used to relate with each of them, the sequences, like the bar sequence, and I was thinking, oh, I will do the same thing, if, like, with my girlfriends. So like my character, though it has a own journey. It is a little quiet, like all the time. We used to do this yoga session and meditation, and bunch of things, doing the scene work, and so it was not like a shooting. It was like a family gathering. No, I cannot call it as a family. It was everything. It was like we were living every day. Each day was, a beautiful day. We were experiencing ourselves. We were experimenting with ourselves, and every day we used to surprise ourselves. And that's what happened. And it was fun. It was fun. Only 7 women used to talk on set, and rest of them were quiet.
I've constantly seen a lot of guilt. So either some of the women that I know have given up their careers to be with their children and so hate their lives because of it and their husbands. Uh, or there's the other lot that works but is constantly guilty about not spending enough time. So I'm surrounded by this. But yeah, seeing that and feeling it is not the same thing. So I was wondering where I'm going to pull that. When they told me that you have a daughter, I said, shit. I ran away from it in my real life, and now you're doing this to me here. What? Why? But they said, you have a daughter. I said, okay, cool. I love kids, but other people's kids, not mine. So, that scene where this whole, let me tell you about just that particular scene, because it took my soul and some. So I'm just told, Sandy, you have to go under the porch. This is what Nalin used to do. He used to just send us to places not telling us what we are going to expect, So you have to go under this thing. They were not revealed to us actors. So
Oh,
I didn't know
wow.
what was happening. So he said, just go under this thing. I go under this thing, and they show me that this girl has done this. And I swear, Lakshmi, I choked. I choked for the child I've not had. I just choked. I broke down. I mean, they cut the scene, and I still sat there and I cried because I thought it was so heartbreaking, and I went through that whole thing, and by the time that girl came, I couldn't even speak. And that was the reality that they made us tap consistently, of me not having played a mother.